and welcome back to Bumblebee, my paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike. I hope you're ready to debate because today's video is all about the top 10 cursed royal family artifacts, starting with Daisy and her pearls for number 10. Daisy of Pless was a beloved British princess, like Princess Diana of her time. Unconventional, playful, yet stunningly beautiful, she was highly cultivated in the public eye, but after World War II, it was one of her necklaces that demanded attention, quickly becoming one of the most wanted artifacts of its time. A pearl necklace given to her by her husband Hans, who she had married in 1891. The necklace was 22 feet long and one of the most expensive necklaces in the world. In fact, so expensive it cost a human life, as legend says that the necklace was cursed by the pearl diver who suffocated while collecting them. Maybe it's why she and her husband divorced. Well, not fully, because we know that's partly due to a rumor about Daisy and William II caused by her being the go-between for him and King Edward at the time. Fun side note though, the ex-hubby Hans goes on to marry Clotilde, of whom he has 2 children and 9 years of marriage before they annul, and Clotilde marries her stepson Bolko, the son of Daisy and Hans, and proceeds to give them their only grandchild. Fun family gatherings, I imagine. Anyways, after that weird little bump came World War I. Daisy served as a nurse and touched the hearts of Europeans by offering her help to soldiers on both sides of the conflict. Then came World War II, and many nobles were supporting Schmittler, but Daisy wasn't about it. Instead, she was active in the support and escape of prisoners from Gross-Rosen, earning her the German enemy status and eviction from her properties in Poland. She actually died in rural Poland on June 29th of 1943. Due to research by the foundation of Daisy Pless, we know that Daisy sold most of her pearls in 1936. Her son Bolko was arrested by the Gestapo for unknown reasons, and he was tormented relentlessly for 2 months and only left the prison when his mother paid the NSDAP a huge amount of money she'd gotten from cutting her beloved pearl strand and selling most of the stones. Sadly, the young man died because of his injuries caused anyways. But according to Daisy's grandson, if she was buried with the necklace, it wasn't more than 1 meter left of pearls. If not, the pearl's location's a true mystery. And what better place to lay than number 9, the Bed of Ware, aka the bed that doesn't want you in it. I guess it just wants to stand there and look pretty. Earn its title, the most famous bed in British history. Man, what are you guys doing over there that's a classification? No wonder you had to steal everyone else's artifacts for your museums. Anyway, the story goes that this bed was made in the 15th century for our boy King Edward the, I think that's the 4th, by a carpenter named Jonas Fosbrook. Made of rich sturdy oak, carved, pruned, and plucked for a royal king, it's said that the bed is so large it can comfortably sleep 4 couples. Alright Edward, I see what you were up to there, you ain't slick. However, at some point in time, the bed found itself out of the castle and being passed around the inns like a princess turned working girl. As it circulated the inns of Ware, England, where commoners were able to sleep in it and cover it in graffiti, the disrespect and defacing of this regal item angered the ghost of Fosbrook. And now it said the carpenter has cursed this bed and his spirit may attack any commoner who tries to sleep in it, since he made it for noble blood only. So I guess if you want to find out if you have noble blood, go take a nap. If something is called a Trumpet of War, I think you'd better not blow it, as proven in number 8. It's 1922. You bust into an ancient underground tomb that has a big sign on it that says, "Please don't bust into this tomb or ghosts will kill you." And inside it's got all this treasure and amazing stuff just chock full of curses. Curses everywhere. But you see 2 big ass bronze horns literally called Trumpets of War, and the light bulb that goes off in your head is, I'm gonna play these for the world to hear on BBC radio. Anyways, yeah, these excited dummies decide to take an item that the Egyptians used as an announcement of war and death, and literally a horrific guttural wail of a sound, and play it for the world in 1939 on BBC radio. And it seemed that the universe took that announcement quite seriously, as it was only a couple months after that World War II broke out. Naturally, as the deaths of those on the excavation team were being chalked up to a curse, so was this. Moral of the story, stop touching Tut's stuff and get out of his room. Let's talk about a cursed amethyst for number 7. Shout out to all my amethyst birthstones, call them purple pals. Anyways, this cursed rock starts its life in the temple dedicated to the god Indra in India. Shocker! Seeing as pretty much every cursed gem out there, such as the Hope Diamond or the Kohinoor Diamond, is stolen from India, it's almost like there's a correlation between stealing gems and then the gems becoming Death Herring Spite Rocks. Who do you know? Anyways, so a British soldier, Colonel W. Ferris, snatched the stone and his health immediately goes to crap and he suddenly starts to go broke. He dies and the amethyst goes to his son, who then also loses all his money and becomes terminally ill. In an attempt to recover, he sends the stone to his friend to hold onto it, which the friend does do, right up until they take their own life and mail it right on back. The stone bounces to 19th century polymath Edward Heron Allen. He was skeptical at first, thus why he accepted accepted the stone when many wouldn't, but regretted that quickly as his luck became unfathomably bad, even extending to family and friends such as a close acquaintance and professional singer who lost her voice one night after visiting and seeing the stone. Heron Allen tried to get rid of it as a result, throwing it in the canal, selling it, but it continuously returned to him. After the birth of his daughter and not wanting to take any risks, he decided to have it stored away in a bank vault inside 7 locked boxes with a note of strict instructions not to remove the amethyst until 33 years after his death, and his daughter could never hold or touch it. Less than a year after his death, however, his daughter donated the amethyst to the Natural History Museum. Next up is all too famous. It's the Terracotta Army, number 6. Many scholars believe that the Terracotta Army was never meant to be seen by the living. For centuries, it existed as a myth, but the sudden discovery of a warrior by the farmers seeking groundwater unearthed a literal necropolis, and since then it's been nothing but a curse to those who found it and their community right nearby. Qin Shi Huang feared death and became obsessed with finding the elixir of life. Unfortunately, he thought murk was one of the key ingredients. Instead, it's what kills him in his late 40s. But by this time, he'd long prepared his tomb. It took 36 years and 700,000 workers to create the massive underground bunker that contained over 8,000 terracotta figures. The Chinese government had no intention to open the tomb until scientists can find a way to keep it preserved in the process, but they access and study what they can. Meanwhile, the men who discovered the warriors told Swiss News in 2013 that many of the older people in the village believed that disturbing them would bring misfortune. When the older ones saw these statues of gods and the bronze objects we had dug up, they weren't at all pleased. They said they were part of the local feng shui and that digging them up would do no good to either the village or to us. For the 7 men who encountered the Terracotta Army, this was downright prophetic. As news spread of the emperor's tomb, the government came to claim their farmland and demolish their homes for excavations, museum space, and souvenir shops. Among the well diggers, one took his life, while others died in poverty or had to resort to signing books about the discovery for meager pay. This king's wealth caused a gold fever, number 5. 363 Lydian artifacts, all dating back to the 7th century, are found in the Usak province of Turkey in 1966, and all 363 pieces have been nothing but trouble since. Now called the Kuron treasure, it's also known as the Croesus treasure, in reference to the Lydian king from the 6th century BC. No matter what you call it, locals only call it trouble. Lydia was a huge Iron Age kingdom existing from 15th to 14th century BCE to almost 545 BC, but by the 1st century BCE, almost all of their culture and existence was lost. The Karun treasure is automatically a massive historical, well, gold mine. It was discovered, retrieved, and sold by the villagers of Midiki, which after the government had to play track and trace to get it back. The battle between the Turkish government and the New York Met Gallery lasted from 1987 to 1993. When the Americans lose, they send back all 363 pieces, or at least the Turkish government thought. Turns out the old switcheroo was pulled, and in 2006, one of the artifacts is identified as a forgery. Now, nobody can say for sure how many are fakes. So, what is the curse connected to the famous treasure? Gold fever. Legends say that people get sick from the treasure, and they can't apparently stop themselves from trying to get a piece of it, meaning they'll do just about anything, including a decade-long legal battle and swapping out the real pieces for forgeries, or 43 years after its discovery, the director of the Usak Museum being arrested under suspicion that he had stolen some of the artifacts from the collection, or the 9 other similar arrests that have been proven to date. Stairwell to maybe the heaven is number 4. Don't know if it qualifies as a artifact, maybe a super large object, whatever. It's the Queen's House of Royal Museum's Greenwich, home to the first geometric self-supporting spiral stair in Britain. An absolutely hilarious note about this property is that also kicked off the curse of the Loveless Palace is that the house was commissioned by King James I in 1619 for his wife, Anne of Denmark, as an elaborate apology for him swearing at her in public. If anything, I believe his verbal response to be quite measured considering his wife had just accidentally shot one of his dogs. So, the Queen, however, fell ill and died in 1619. At this point, the first floor was completed and hastily capped off. During the reign of Charles I, the construction was started again once more, this time in dedication to his own wife, Queen Henrietta Maria, but this time it was interrupted by the English Civil War and the house is abandoned again, later to be repurposed to hold war prisoners. After the war, it became a boarding school, then a hospital school, then finally a national maritime museum. It seems that the building, initially meant for a gesture of love to make up for something foul, never got to be anything but foul and was cursed to remain a loveless place. I'd make a Lord of the Rings reference if I knew any. Number 3 is the stolen ring. Once upon a time in 4th century AD, Roman nobleman Sylvanus was stationed in Gloucestershire, England. The whole phrase is when in Rome, so Sylvie must have taken that mindset and applied it to when in Gloucestershire because he chose to go to the elaborate baths dedicated to the Celtic god Nodens, a deity associated with healing, hunting, and dogs, a real man's man. When Sylvie was at the temple, he took off his gold ring and left it on the side of the pool with his belongings, where it was stolen from him. Sylvie believed that it was Senecanius who stole it, as he was the only other person there at the time. Instead of going, yo buddy, hand it over, Sylvie, super casual and laid back, goes to the Nodens temple and prepares a lead curse tablet which he inscribed with, for the god Nodens, Sylvianus has lost a ring and has donated 1/2 its worth to Nodens. Among those names, Senecanius permit no good health until it is returned to the temple of Nodens. Both this ring and this tablet are found separately in history, yet it's in 1929, archaeologist Sir Mortimer Wheeler saw a connection between the two. While it can't be entirely confirmed, however, Seni is an unusually specific name and the close dates of the artifacts seem to support the theory. So, just to double check, Wheeler asked his friend J.R.R. Tolkien to help clarify what obscure god Nodens was and what role he might have played in history of the ring. As a result, it's believed that the ring of Senecanius was the inspiration for the ring in The Hobbit. Number 2 has got to be my favorite. It's the cat fur rug. That's right, a cat fur rug with a picture of a cat on it, all gift wrapped up around a mummified foot. Doesn't that sound like a real treat? This rug is sometimes referred to as the sacred cat rug and has the title of the oldest rug in the world. But aside from being ancient, not much else is known, as this artifact was purchased from treasure hunters who had plundered multiple sites without rhyme or reason, losing valuable excavation opportunities. When it was bought in 1913, the 2,400-year-old rug had a mummified human foot wrapped inside of it. The relation between this mummified foot and the cat hair rug is completely unknown. The rug, having come from Egypt, is believed to have been removed from a royal tomb or a royal temple, however, and it may have had a ritualistic purpose, especially given the not-so-subtle worship of cats found in ancient Egypt. The loom-weaved fur and the image on the rug are that of an African wildcat, but it's the curse that really makes things spicy. A papyrus inscription had allegedly come with the rug, but like the foot and who knows what else, lots of parts of this got lost thanks to illegal sales. It is alleged that anyone who is careless enough to step on this rug would die shortly after. Whilst it's unknown if this curse is true since nobody's trying to step on the rug and find out, apparently when the rug was last restored, a dead cat was found stretched out on the front steps of the museum in the morning. Last but never the least, number 1 is the story of the Jade Seal. According to legend, a man named Bianchi found a giant stone containing the largest piece of jade in the land. He recognized its value and brought it to the ruler of Chu, named King Li. Li thought it was a useless rock, and insulted by the waste of time, ordered Bian's foot be cut off. When King Li died, Bian tried again with the new king, Wu. But this monarch also thought it was just a stone, and like his father, ordered the man's other foot to be cut off. When Wu died, the crown passed to his son, Wen. Bianchi carried the jade stone to the foot of Mount Chu. There he cried until, to quote, after 3 days and 3 nights, his tears were all exhausted and blood flowed out. At this news, King Wen sent men to ask him the reason. I am lamenting not the loss of my feet, said Bian in reply, but for the calling of a precious gem, an ordinary stone, and for their dubbing an honest man a liar. This is the reason I am lamenting. Impressed by Bian's adamancy, King Wen ordered the royal jeweler to cut and polish the stone. Lo and behold, inside was the largest piece of pure jade the king had ever seen, and in honor of what Bian he did to uncover the precious jade, King Wen called the piece He-She-Bi, meaning he's jade disc. Then in 283 BC, the precious jade was stolen from the king of Chu and sold to the state of Zhao, and the king of Qin offered Zhao 15 cities for the jade. King of Zhao realized it was a trap and steals the jade back from the Qin, but the Qin dynasty would have its revenge. So in 221 BC, Qin Shi Huang conquered the 6 warring states, including Zhao. Victorious, Qin ordered the jade to be carved so the most fantastic piece of jade would forever serve as the Qin imperial seal. Legend has it that the jade was inscribed with the words, "Having received the mandate of heaven, may the emperor lead a long and prosperous life." And since that moment it was carved, it is being cursed. From 221 BC onward, the heirloom seal of the realm passed from emperor to emperor. But when the Ming dynasty came into power in 1368, it had vanished. There are several theories as to what happened to the seal, and every now and then someone claims to have found it, but nothing's been confirmed thus far. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in, and I sure hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe to see more from us, and until next time, drop a comment below on if your family has any cursed relics and heirlooms.